Ladies and gents, welcome to Reaction. This is America's war in Venezuela begins. This is my channel Cappy Army. Yeah, Cappy is gonna put us up to date about what's happening there. Means silent warfare and like black ops usually goes under the radar when it comes to like any like public things, right? But yeah, it must have begun already at a insane scale because that's how America has worked in the past. And America usually works with the president. If they have done something in the past, they're probably going to do similar things. This is going to be interesting seeing what is happening there. Yeah, Maduro's one unlucky person, let's just say. That's voice one.
The shadow war is secretly unfolding behind the scenes in Venezuela. The US government just confirmed that they authorized CIA officers to take covert action against Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and the drug cartels. That terrible Tom Clancy fanfiction I wrote in high school is now becoming a reality. We've consolidated everything you need to know, from the ground operations Venezuela claims are already underway to the massive ongoing US.
Why is America putting out statement that we're going to do covert missions? Like, aren't you supposed to keep that to yourself?
Military buildup in the Caribbean, and Maduro's attempts to request help from his allies in Russia and China. The first thing you need to know is signing off on any kind of covert action allows American paramilitary officers to carry out lethal missions across the country. Ground branch activities are real spooky stuff designed to attack political, military, and economic conditions. And just a few days after this announcement of that authorization, Venezuelan authorities came out and they claimed in a press conference that they'd captured a group of 4 operatives already. President Maduro's government stated that they'd apprehended a CIA-backed mercenary group that was plotting to conduct a false flag attack against one of their own US warships docked in the Caribbean. According to them, this attack would have been used as justification by the United States military to go absolutely ham and launch a massive strike against ground targets and topple Maduro. According to Venezuelan authorities, the CIA-backed group.
Yeah, this is the new world we live in. People are just going to make claims. We saw that with India-Pakistan thing, how fake news was flooded, how Pakistan was showing armor footages and everything. Is that the new thing now? Like, or is this what social media has done to us, even at the military scale? It doesn't matter if you get completely screwed. If you lie to people like you won, so you only care about the image, it doesn't matter what actual damage happens. So if you get absolutely wrecked, but if you put out like fake messages, fake videos, and fake photos and tell people that I'm fine, I guess that's all matters. Showboating, that's the only thing left. That's the only value we have. Is that it? That's insane, man. I've seen that like a lot recent times. People just lie. It's like I have to tell other countries that I'm fine, even though I'm not fine. Like, what?
Tried to plant evidence along the way to implicate Venezuela in the attack. What that evidence would have been, they didn't say. My guess, they were going to leave behind a wallet with Maduro's driver's license and sprinkle some cocaine on it. But the United States has officially denied any involvement, making it another case of he said, she said of geopolitics. Venezuelan Vice President Rodriguez claimed that the alleged plot was similar to past incidents in history, like the.
Look, I don't doubt the USA has done this. Of course, they have everything you can think of. I do doubt that they captured 4 people. Come on.
1898 explosion of the USS Maine off the coast of Cuba, and the 1964 Gulf of Tonkin incident near Vietnam that was used as a precursor to justify further involvement in the Vietnam War. But so far, authorities have yet to provide any smoking gun, any direct evidence of actual US involvement. Born too late for regime change in Latin America, born too early for regime change in Latin America, but born just in time for regime change in Latin America. But what happened next in this shadow war has been fully confirmed by the United States authorities themselves, and it played out in the full view of the public. It was a shocking mission to capture the president of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro himself, a major escalation, and it didn't go entirely according to plan, as we'll see. But before we get into that,
this video is sponsored by Delete.
You know what the insane part is? Like, Maduro can easily claim that, okay, we are at war with America since they're clearly trying to attack us. But he can't do that because he's going to get wrecked if he's the guy who says I'm at war. Like, Trump doesn't need excuse after that. Oh, Maduro just said we are at war. What do you want me to do? Not defend? Send in the Navy. The end. So Maduro can't claim war, like, oh, I go to war against America. He can't do that. But he also have to sit there and just like have this onslaught coming towards him, which no official president, prime minister, whatever would accept. Like imagine this shit happen to like Indian Prime Minister Modi. Would Modi just sit there? No, Modi's like, okay, we are at war. Doesn't matter which country it is. But Venezuela can't do that. There's no like there is literally no fight against America. That's insane. Jaypal, go to original video page link and from there support this channel.
Back to the episode.
At the end of October 2025, the Associated Press revealed from their sources that the FBI ran an elaborate rendition operation against Maduro. Rendition is another word for kidnapping, but the good kind, the kind that has lots of paperwork and is used against enemies of the state. Edwin Lopez, an agent with the U.S. Homeland Security Investigations Unit, was called in to look into some suspicious pilots and their jet that they seized in the Dominican Republic. These pilots were conducting some routine maintenance on their jet. It all sounds innocent enough, but they were doing it illegally because their Venezuelan aircraft was sanctioned.
So by simply servicing the private jet out of the country in the Dominican Republic, this was a criminal offense in and of itself to the United States. Agent Lopez used this as leverage against the pilots when interrogating them about the seized aircraft. He pressed them on who they fly around, when they do it, where they do it, what celebrity fleets are they ferrying and where. Lopez then asked if they'd ever flown someone by the name of Nicolas Maduro in their jet. The chief pilot, named Bittner, admitted that he did frequently fly Maduro around. According to insider reporting, the US government then offered Bittner, the chief pilot, a deal. All he had to do was secretly divert their next flight with Maduro on board to a US airbase, and America would then capture him and incarcerate him.
And America would make him filthy rich, $50 million richer, which is a full bounty on Maduro's head. If that sounds crazy, remember that's pretty much the exact same plot that worked at capturing the top cartel bosses from Mexico in 2024. This move is now the FBI's
There's a slight difference in that. Slight. Maduro is not that.
go-to signature kidnapping hat trick at this point. But would that offer really be enough? No amount of money could guarantee Bittner's safety. That pilot knew he would always be looking over his shoulder for the rest of his life if he took that money. He might never be able to go home. But the pilot wrote back
We're forgetting critical thing here. It's not just Maduro, it's the entire military that is kind of part of this. So like, yeah, you're making a lot more enemies than just one guy.
Final defiant text saying he would never betray Maduro like that, and the U.S. intelligence community was shocked at being left on red like that. In response, they fully crashed out and went hard on him. U.S. officials posted on X compromising photos of the chief pilot where he was seen talking to Venezuelan opposition leaders. No one is more catty than federal agents that have been let on. This post could have been very embarrassing for Maduro, and it could have gotten the pilot Bittner life in prison for his treasonous activities. Because the post quickly went viral, it was seen by 2.8 million people, and this forced Bittner out into the open and panicked President Maduro. From flight tracking data, it looked like his private plane took an immediate U-turn back home while it was up in the air. Maduro's government clapped back and made their own counterpost, denouncing what they called quote-unquote opposition lies and praising the pilots for their loyalty. The spy v spy shadow war here is between the CIA and Maduro's counterintelligence service that's called...
Yeah, there's two sides to this. Obviously, he's gonna be wary of that guy, but he also has to claim like this bullshit is like, they are pretty loyal to me because you can't show that my system and my military has cracks in it. That's not a confidence. Like, he has to show, like, everything's fine. Everybody's loyal. He has to show that.
Called the General Directorate of Military Counterintelligence, or DGCIM. They're the ones who are investigating this type of covert action that's being taken by the United States in Venezuela right now. They, along with Cuban intelligence agents, work together closely to monitor every pilot and anyone that's close to Maduro in an attempt to stop this kind of operation.
I think part of what's interesting about these clandestine missions so far is the very public nature of all these announcements. It's pretty unusual to see these kind of things being spoken about openly. From both Venezuelan and American authorities, they've been airing their dirty espionage laundry for all of us to see on X and on these public press conferences. The fact that Trump made the announcement of authorizing CIA operations in Venezuela
Modern times is showboating. Are you kidding me?
public for all of us to know tells us something. Likely he wants Maduro to be paranoid and be seeing operatives in his Cheerios. And on the other hand, the fact that Maduro publicly claimed to have caught CIA-backed operatives is unusual, when tradecraft would usually dictate you keep that kind of information secret and close to the chest.
This is part of the reason why experts are saying a lot of this conflict so far has been geopolitical theater. Countries are all theater kids and model UN kids at heart after all. But we're observing that these clandestine methods are
Life is that. See, people say, why are you bringing politics into everything? Politics is not really a thing. It's major part of human nature. There is small part of politics everywhere where you look at it. Even if you think there's no politics, you will see politics there. So people are like, oh, keep politics out of it. It's kind of impossible in every single turn. Sure, you can do it. But there's a chance you probably didn't.
reaching their limits, and the shadow war is threatening to turn into a case of full-blown war. If the first phase of this has been fought in secret chats and back channels, the next one's happening in broad daylight, and the size of the US military buildup suggests something far bigger than a counter-narcotics mission. Both the United States and Venezuela are mobilizing huge amounts of force. Since September, the United States has...
That's not good. That's not good for Venezuela. America can project force beyond the sea. In their own continent? Yeah, that's... Venezuela needs to do something drastic. I don't know, like overthrow Maduro or something to show America, like, yeah, government is under change or something. Because America invades you, you're fucked. Is America, first of all. Like, this is like one of those things, like, you don't need more details than that. It's America. More than that, it's in their own continent. It's not even that logistically hard. Even if it's logistically hard, America usually excel at that. This is not even that. So, yeah.
very publicly amassed the largest military force in the Caribbean since the 1980s. Roughly 10% of the entire US Navy is deployed to the Caribbean by late October, and this is even before the USS Gerald R. Ford strike group with some 80 more combat aircraft arrived. With
What?
the largest and most advanced air...
This San Gerald Ford, the latest one? Oh. That thing alone is scary.
aircraft carrier in the world. Cuban intelligence is reportedly closely monitoring this buildup and sending those details to Venezuela. Now, satellite images reveal the extent of this buildup. The US military is doing extensive construction, with upgrading an old Cold War era base, the Roosevelt Roads Naval Base in Puerto Rico. It was long forgotten, but it will now help sustain these missions. Overhead imagery shows runways are being cleared to increase fighter jet sortie rates, the construction of new tents for more housing capacity, and construction of additional ammunition storage facilities. Defense contractor sites are lighting up with job offers like I'm working for Halliburton and it's 2003 again. At only 500 miles away from Venezuela, Puerto Rico is the perfect...
If you're Venezuelan and I have some in my... I see that comment sometimes. You must be scared, man. I'm not gonna lie, like, if I were in your place, I don't know what I would think. America isn't just some biggest power. America's meticulous. I don't know how else to explain that. No country in the world can compare to that. Them literally surgically preparing like that is scary as fuck, man. I don't know what to say after this. If this is like Iraq 2.0, yeah, it's a problem, man. Venezuela might not come out really perfectly intact, especially Trump at the helm. Trump is one of those guys who, like, I don't give a fuck. That's his mentality, which is like problematic because some decision, let's just say someone else like Obama or somebody might like, okay, let's calm down with that one. Let's find better alternative. Trump would not say that. That's problem.
staging location to support sustained operations. According to the United States, it's there to crush the Cartel de los Sols that's allegedly trafficking 500 tons of cocaine into the United States and Europe each year. If you take a look here, you'll see this graphic shows the location of 10 F-35 advanced stealth fighter jets, Reaper drones, and the general spots where warships are in this region. Joining these destroyers, cruisers, and amphibious landing ships, and nuclear attack submarine from the north, over the last few months are more specialized assets that we know about now, like the AC-1
of all time. Oh, back up. B-52, great. Powerhouse. Not the stealthy one, but powerhouse. I would say bone is more stronger, B-1. But AC-130, that's, I don't want to see that shit on my sky. If I see AC-130, I would dig a hole and go inside. That shit is scary. circling over you like a vulture, shooting howitzer towards you. Yeah, you better have like better anti-defense. And I'm pretty sure Venezuela doesn't have that. Venezuela like S-300 or something, right? It's just like, I don't know. I don't know if that's going to work here.
Assets that we know about now, like the AC-130 Ghost Rider and the MV Ocean Trader. The news service Online Intelligence reported that special operators from that Ocean Trader ship are now mapping out Venezuela's defensive systems in shaping operations. According to 2 U.S. intelligence officials, Navy SEALs are mapping out targets along the coast. There will be an estimated 15 to 17,000 troops dedicated to the mission. The writing is on the wall, or should I say the writing is on the sky, because the U.S. Air Force has been regularly tracked flying supersonic B-1 and B-52 bombers from Air Force bases in Texas, North Dakota, and Louisiana. In this case, America is like the giant floating aircraft carrier. You don't even need an aircraft carrier when you're that close to home. Compared to the last few decades of war, the Air Force is barely commuting to work on this one. They barely have to leave home to fire their JASSM cruise missiles that
You can literally bomb you and go home for coffee or something. You're American, drink coffee. Yeah, this is what the fuck is this, man? This is like some like one of my viewers is Venezuelan. It's like Trump is actually preparing to invade. I'm like, come on, man, that's not the case. Like, yeah, he's saying, but now Cap is saying, yeah, they are preparing to invade. So which means my information was old and you were fucking right. What?
can hit targets over 500 miles away. They lob shots with precision while staying out of any of the range of enemy air defense. The United States military has destroyed at least 18 different vessels so far that they claim are drug boats, killing 70 people now. The rules of engagement with these have been what we like to call in the military officially as loosey-goosey, or there's another one, blast 'em. These attacks have hit in the Caribbean and now the Eastern Pacific Ocean. The reason these attacks are happening at sea, I think, is because it's kind of a legally dubious region. There is less pushback to what happens here. International waters is like the purge, but 24/7. No rules, no laws. You want to gamble, go ahead. You
With howitzers and like cruise missiles.
want to marry your cousin, that's fine. You want to murk a bunch of drug runners, it's international waters, splish.
Marry with what? With what institution? Catholic Church is not gonna accept that. United States government is not gonna accept that. Neither do any other country. So marriage with what? Which institution?
Splash, I'm having a bath. In response to this U.S. buildup, Venezuelan leader Maduro ordered the National Bolivarian Armed Forces to full wartime readiness, mobilizing 125,000 troops and 400,000 militia fighters. Maduro then issued a stern warning that he has 5,000 of the Igla-S anti systems that he's activated to, quote, guarantee peace. However, he forgot everyone and their mom nowadays has access to information on weapon systems capabilities. The Igla-S has a short range of 10,000 feet. It's only really good for taking down helicopters in the short ceiling, not stealth fighter aircraft. He likely mentioned those Iglas because it's more for a domestic audience. But according to high-ranking Venezuelan military officers who have actually defected and come to the United States, Venezuela's armed forces are short on resources, short on maintenance, and short on training. They claim the Venezuelan military is lousy with corruption and internal scheming that makes it far less powerful than its size on paper would suggest. According to a few sources, operational readiness across their armed forces is estimated between 25 to 40%. T-72 tanks and BTR-80 armored vehicles suffer from frequent mechanical failures, with spare parts in very short supply. Only 3 of their ocean patrol ships remain operational, and 6 of their missile frigates were sold for scrap.
This is like when this is like when Britain fought Argentina. Britain had like, I don't know, like something that shot like cannon shot at like 17 miles or something. While Argentina had something that shot like 9 miles or something. It was barely a fight. This is kinda that. At the time, Britain was already like powerful enough. Argentina was not. But right now, America is insanely powerful, and Venezuela is like more powerful than Argentina was. But still, it's kind of like that, right? Like this is insane. Like they don't even have weapon to defend. Like, what is Maduro doing? Like, try to de-escalate. Try to talk to Trump and like, okay, just play dumb. Like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. We don't support the drug mafia or whatever, cartels and things. But you know what? We are going to help you and actually try to help them even short term to like de-escalate. Why you puffing your chest? It's not gonna end well.
Their last remaining submarine is broken down. I like a surface level analysis as much as the next military YouTuber. It's true the Venezuelan military has 22 Soviet-era Su-30 fighter jets, but according to deeper open and source intelligence from insiders, only 4 are fully operational of those.
Yeah, Su-30s are great, but if it's like a newer update, Mark IIs, if it's Mark II, that's great. I don't know about the original Su-30. It's still like decent compared to a lot of like not so powerful countries. Don't even have that, so like that's decent. But against America, I mean, I don't know.
Those fighters. Other sources like Latin America Military Aviation places it slightly higher
Mark
at 13
V.
being
Okay.
operational. This is not to say though that there are no threats. Venezuela's Air Force has the KH-31 anti-ship missile with a possible range of 70 miles. Launched from a Su-30, that range even increases. It has the potential to speed through a warship's point defenses with that 200-pound warhead, and that's no fun for nobody. It's perhaps the most capable weapon in their Air Force and arsenal. Another 4
It's Mark V, so it's kind of like a newer one. Then yeah, Mark I think sucked, but after that, yeah, it was good. So yeah, that is something. Like if they can use that and coordinate with that, I mean, against America, it's not gonna work. But at the short term, yeah, that would do damage. Like America would be like, "What the fuck?" That would happen. But that probably wouldn't end well because America has 5th-gen planes.
1980s era US made F-16s are able to fly out of their inventory of 24. But according to these reports, they don't have any working missile systems for those F-16s. If I'm being fair, that's still 4 more fighter jets than I have though. But it never pays to underestimate your adversary, and the equation could change. And why, in the face of these challenges, President Maduro has requested his allies' help in sending him weaponry. However, is the Russian Federation able and willing to provide more effective weapons? Recent reports show evidence of a Russian IL-76.
They need it. How are they gonna give it to Venezuela? Russia need it.
Heavy cargo plane arriving in the capital of Venezuela. Its registration number is linked to none other than the mercenary Wagner force that you might be familiar with. It took a circular route. If you follow
And in doubt, involve Wagner.
its tracking, it went all over the world to avoid unfriendly airspace and to ensure that its mystery cargo was free of any risk of being interdicted or inspected. But we know it's the type of aircraft that frequently delivers rockets, missile systems, small arms. Everyone's favorite game of climbing the escalation ladder continued on Friday, November 7th, when Russian Foreign Ministry and several other high-ranking Russian officials claimed that they were ready to support Maduro and potentially even send new types of long-range missiles, trying to kind of stick it to the United States. Whether they will actually have the hardware.
I mean, that kind of makes sense to me because United States did the same thing to Russia with Ukraine. So this could be one of those like, yeah, we need it, but we're still going to supply Venezuela just as an FU to USA. What is USA going to do? Say like, why are you doing that? We'll say that, why are you doing that with Ukraine? I see that politics.
And resources necessary to send that weaponry, though, is something that we're going to see over the next few weeks. And what does that leave Maduro with until then? It's also true the Venezuelan military has 2 of the Russian-provided S-300VM Antony 2500 surface-to-air missile systems, but they've gone.
Yeah, this is the whole system. Yeah, S300, S400 is like multiple vehicle systems. Pretty sure that's how Patriot and THAAD works as well. Yeah. But I don't know about S300. It's not just about the range. People think S300 means 300 kilometer. Yeah, it is. S400 means 400 kilometer. It is, but it's more advanced radar and things. S400 is like kind of effective in modern times, as we've seen with India-Pakistan thing. Like it was very successful against Chinese weapons, but also like Indian things were also at play there, like Prithvi system, not Prithvi, Akash system. Prithvi is like ICBM, but Akash system and things like which was like developed with Israel, France and India. So it's not just S400, but S400 is decent. 200, I don't know about that. This is like, I don't know, man. This is like politically it's kind of weird, right? Because this will give Putin things to say. Oh, we invaded Ukraine because of like Nazis things. They can just claim that. So now you're claiming that Venezuela has like drugs and you're invading them or attacking them. So we're just gonna send weapons to defend them. It kind of muddies the water, doesn't it? Like, yeah, like there is not going to be any superior thing like how West is doing with the Ukraine thing. oh, you're supporting Ukraine, we are supporting Venezuela. In our eyes, they are the innocent. Like, it could muddy the water like that.
On over a decade without maintenance. The core of the air defense is also built around 12 of the Book air defense that has a max range of 250,000 feet. There are also Tor-M and Pechora 2M systems, which are reinforced with the old Zu-23 cannons. They're all tied together with the JYL-27A Chinese and Russian Nebo SVU radars. And what all of that means is a report by the Miami Strategic Intelligence Institute, based on intercepted communications of their active duty forces, found that 60% of the country's surveillance and detection capabilities are totally out of service and without spare parts. It's a patch.
You know what I think? Russia could take weapons from China and give to Venezuela. China could indirectly give weapons to Venezuela. There's two sides to this. China can in the end just claim like we're helping defending a country just like everybody doing with Ukraine. And China kind of needs their weapon to be tested. Like it was tested in India-Pakistan thing. China's not under any conflict. How powerful China is right now, China is probably not going to be under any conflict in the future. China is not like how USA is and how USA has established itself in past century. So China's conflict apart from Taiwan, which they do with themselves, is going to be very minimal. So they need something to test their weapon. They could do that with Venezuela.
Patchwork of systems that's vulnerable to American electronic warfare, jamming by US fighter aircraft. These are mainly placed around the Bolivarian Republic's headquarters though, and it's mainly strategically placed around their bases. We know that even on paper this air defense network is less sophisticated and less capable compared to Iran's, and that network was totally incapable of engaging American stealth fighters and their escorts and bombers on their strike against their nuclear facilities. This information is corroborated from a number of different open sources, not just former defective soldiers. As always, all intelligence reports should be weighted and taken together, though the full assessment is backed up further by widely reported dire economic situation that the country has faced for years, where Maduro's having challenging time feeding the population, which can make financing a military even more difficult. The United States warns that...
No, it doesn't. He could just prioritize military. Fuck people. He could just do that. Which I guess increases the chances of people getting fed up with it. Especially during the pressure time where USA is like invading you. People can just say fuck you Maduro and just like overthrow Maduro. So yeah. It depends how he's going to respond, isn't it?
Strikes against land targets within Venezuela's borders are next. They've lined up crosshairs on a secret list of targets that includes both military and alleged drug trafficking infrastructure. Gets blurry though when sometimes those are dual use. However, all indicators currently point to no plans for any kind of actual ground invasion, and if regime change is the goal, it can be difficult to depose someone without boots on the ground ultimately. So how do you take someone out of power without getting bogged down in a costly possible insurgency? The current option on the table is Tomahawk cruise missiles from the surface warships and precision munitions delivered by Reaper drones, combined with electronic warfare. The goal would be to encourage local police to capture high-ranking members of Maduro's inner circle for the reward money. Even if regime change isn't the overall objective of the United States Caribbean strategy, just the threat of America's capabilities might be enough to persuade President Maduro to comply with America's demands. However,
I think it should have happened earlier. Like he should have played dumb like us. Like, why did he wait until entire navy's at the door? Like, that's just insane.
complying might not be enough, and part of the war happening behind the scenes, part of this shadow war, is the battle of the wills, the diplomatic exchange of fire, so to speak. In fact, President Maduro may have already offered to simply comply with United States demands in early October. In an attempt to keep power and avoid a fight with the American military, President Maduro is said to have offered to share Venezuela's immense oil and mineral wealth by promising a majority stake in all resource extraction to U.S. companies. This is according to multiple people close to the talks and negotiations that have been widely reported in the media. Maduro's negotiating team also allegedly offered...
Trump probably said, fuck that, it's too late now. Kind of makes sense to me. Like, if Trump backs down now, it just feels like Trump backed down. Like, what's the point of all this type of shit? And like, the big problem is the drug thing, not the oil thing, at least in American people's eyes. You didn't needed something to do that. Like, I'm completely behind you, Trump. You know what? I won't let your investigators and your military come to my country and like ramp down or clamp down on this mafias and like this drug cartels, because I'm affected by them as well. I'm completely white, I'm completely clean. He could have done that shit and like probably would have sold. Oh, I'm gonna give you oil if you leave me alone. That was never the point. The point is like drug. Trump is running like, oh, they're bringing drugs and we can't have that. That's the point.
To cut ties with American adversaries and stop exporting oil to Russia and China, essentially offering to do whatever was necessary. And the US government confirmed that this happened. And to sweeten the pot, Venezuela's diplomats also allegedly promised a phased transfer of power that would ultimately lead to Maduro stepping down and there being new elections. But the US diplomats, led by Secretary of State Marco Rubio, said no deal. Either President Maduro stepped down now and immediately stopped all support for narco-terrorist groups, or there was nothing else to negotiate.
That was the point.
What we do know for sure is that the rejection of these talks in mid-October basically ended all diplomatic talks, and instead the threat of military force has been the one and only message since then. It's possible the show of force in the Caribbean is about more than compliance, and it's a message aimed at other non-compliant nations like Nicaragua, Cuba, and most importantly China, who's recently been investing billions of dollars in Latin America over the past decade. Important signs to look for, I think, of any unilateral military action coming up from
China is trying to invest shit and always getting screwed. Like China invested a lot in Pakistan and Pakistan ports. India bombed the shit out of them during Pakistan conflict. China's like, God damn it, I'm building a road here. So that wasn't good for China. That's why China stayed away from that. Like, I don't want to increase this conflict. Same shit right now. They're investing in South America and like, yeah, the conflict is rising. China's like, come on, man. I just see, like, this is just going to set me back a lot.
what we're observing is a clampdown on the information space. So in late October, Reuters reported that troops deployed to the Caribbean were asked to sign non-disclosure agreements as part of their assignment. Officers and Pentagon staff asked to take polygraph tests to prevent leaks. On October 16th, Admiral Avin Halsey, the commander of Southcom that oversees the Caribbean, announced his resignation that was 2 years earlier than expected from his command position after only a few months at the position. And we talked about this earlier. Regular viewers of the channel will remember one of the things that we stated that you should look for if there was going to be unilateral military action is someone like Halsey stepping down, who is all about the by, with, and through method. Now it's the through method. On October 30th, Lieutenant General Joseph McGee, a senior officer within the Joint Chiefs of Staff, announced his early retirement. These are the most high-profile turnovers in leadership.
So you're telling me this shit is happening? Is that what you're saying? Come on, man. So like this is just locked in. This like all the sign points toward that. This is like Russia was building medical and all these camps at the Ukraine border. This is what that is. That what you're telling me? The next few months we will hear about like full-on invasion of Venezuela. That's fucked up. That's like a proper American invasion since Iraq war, I think. I want to say Afghanistan, but yeah, they've been in Afghanistan for a long time. Iraq war, right? So when America does something, it's really big and really flamboyant and really loud. So I don't know how this is going to end. I don't know how world's going to react to it.
But there's also dozens of lower ranking officers as well. And all of that means, though, is that this suggests there might be a major new direction being taken. That approach of by, with, and through is becoming less and less influential. This suggests to us that new leadership is going to fill those positions who are more on board with the current direction of use of force in the region.
With the Ray-Bans.
Taken together, this shadow war shows that the United States is crossing from a pressure campaign to an active destabilization effort, from clandestine efforts to overt American armadas waiting offshore. This is what's happening. I'm your average.
Yeah, well, that's just yeah, people with like aviators with Ray-Bans, like, yeah, fuck it, let's do it, are coming, which is not good. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of see America's point here, like they are so powerful and their point of like, yeah, we want to stop drugs into our country, which is like fair. Why would America back down? That doesn't make sense. Like something in Venezuela needs to change, right? This is equivalent to like Pakistan keeps sending terrorists into India. Kind of different because that is drugs. This is like point blank terrorism. So you can see how both are disruptive and how kills civilians. So like India, if that shit happens again, India is going to do the similar thing, attack Pakistan again, bomb Pakistan again, regardless of what. Pakistan is a nuclear country and India doesn't care. Venezuela doesn't even have nukes. And USA is USA. So, like, they're not going to back down. Of course, they're not. You need resolution like, yeah, we're going to do something about narcos and help you, America, against narcos. We're going to make sure no drug passes through anything type of shit. Or at least claim that for USA to even consider, hearing you. Oil is nothing, man. America has a lot of oil. America will find oil somewhere else. I don't know. Alright, well, if you like my next one, subscribe and I'll see you next time.